Welcome back to Phoenix Radio, brought to you by Giovannino, JF Navarra and Co, Tony Murphy and the team at Merck Capital, S&J Candles, Couture Candles in Balmain, and Visy Dior Hotel at 1 Columbia Court.
Thank you. And you can find us at...
And don't forget to subscribe and like our channel on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, iTunes...
All platforms.
All platforms at Visy Dior. My name's Katrina and I'm here with Giovannino.
Hello, Katrina. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're lucky. And I still have my beautiful wife, Joanne.
Yay.
Hi.
Joanne
And Chanel.
And Chanel Wardini.
Yes.
From the agency. And I'm
From
very,
the agency.
I'm really impressed. She's so knowledgeable for such a young lady.
Thank you, John.
You're so motivated. Your parents must be very proud of you,
Thank
Chanel.
you. No, I think...
And you're very inspirational. You remind me the way I was when I was in my 20s.
That
20s.
is the biggest
that's so
compliment.
nice.
Thank
do.
you.
The way she was going to
Energy.
talk, she knows what she's talking
So
about.
you're telling me I'm going to be successful, John?
You're very successful. I think you're going to be very...
No, one thing that my parents have always taught me is listen to anyone of any age and you learn so much, which I think is definitely something that I've tried to do. I think surrounding myself by mature people and always, just as much as I love to talk, I do try to listen a little bit as well and just hear what everyone has to say. And that's what we're here, to talk and listen.
So that's why you're not wearing headphones today?
No. John wanted me to wear headphones, but I don't want to ruin my hair.
Okay,
No
fair
headphones.
enough. Okay, so we're talking about, I just want to cover, in our last previous show, we're talking about what's happening in the industry when it comes to social media content.
Yes.
People.
Content creators.
A lot of people talk about social media influencers.
Yeah.
And what's actually happening between, I wouldn't say like with photographers and videographers, and then you have the social media content providers.
Yeah.
And how the industry seems to be split at the moment with
Yeah.
that, which I think they're actually complementing each other.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. When it comes to obviously capturing your wedding day, I think the brides are actually the influencers because the brides are showcasing their wedding. The content creators play that really big part in capturing that special day and really telling that story online. So from the beginning of the day when she's putting on her dress and, what happens at her house to then the church to the reception to everything that follows. And that's ideally the role of a content creator, to capture those moments that the bride can just focus on getting married and the groom as well. But then photographers and videographers, they have a very special role. They are obviously capturing these photos that the couple is going to cherish for a lifetime. So those are the photos that they get framed in their house. Those are the videos that they show their kids, when they're a little bit older. And that's why they do take a little bit more time because they're so curated. Like in the moment, these photographers and videographers are so talented. They know the angles. They work with so many couples, as do content creators, and they know how to do their jobs really well.
And capture the right moment.
For a unique purpose, I guess. So they do work together. I mean, I've been at events and I've captured content, and I'm going to tell you now, it's not easy. You're working with so many different people, as well as also it's a very emotional thing. Like, people are so overwhelmed on their wedding days, and you've got all these cameras and, they're capturing such beautiful moments. So you really want to make sure it's the job of a photographer, a videographer, a content creator
To do that,
to match their energy as well of the couple. And I mean, I enjoy it.
Well, just something I want to add in.
Yeah.
We're offering something a little bit different at Visy Dior Hotels. Chanel has actually provided a class to all our staff.
Yeah.
And she's trained all our wait team and our coordinators to actually take the special photograph
Yeah.
to actually share on social media. So that's an added service that we're providing that
Yeah.
I don't think
That
you
was
get
fun.
anywhere else.
Awesome.
You know why? Because at the hotel, I think that what a lot of people don't understand is that the staff also need to know what's going on. So,
Yes,
if we can
totally.
upskill the staff and they can see, there's a beautiful wedding in the ballroom right now, I'm going to go take that video, then it's such a benefit. And also for themselves, marketing is, you don't even know you're marketing when you're marketing. Taking a video, and posting it online, you might think, oh, it just looks so beautiful. You're going to get 10 brides from that. Like, you really just don't know.
People are
so
interested.
by
Yeah.
training the staff internally, and I know, you're there, you're really great at social media, Kat. So, you would have seen that there was so many people who just learnt what to do. And I know John's learning every day.
I'm
with
learning.
social media. John goes viral on social media. Every time we post John gets good views.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
You're famous.
No, but what's important about that? Because you want, because I've trained my staff, no selfies. Don't go there with a plate of lasagna and like, you want a selfie.
Yeah, no,
no,
please,
you're
mate.
supposed to be
0.5.
serving. But I told him we're teaching them actually to take the photographs and create the content. We can actually forward onto Chanel herself,
Yeah.
and then we can actually put it out and post it on behalf of the
Of
bride and groom.
course.
So it goes viral.
Yeah,
So
with
people do
consent,
like
of
it, and we
course.
try, and that just takes a little bit of pressure. Sometimes, Chanel, she's the best in the industry. You know who recommended Chanel to me? Stephen Khalil. So Stephen, I was talking to Stephen. I said, "Look, I need someone. I just don't want another." They call themselves influencers today, and I just didn't want another young girl coming in and she's there with a camera doing this sort of, I wanted someone that knew what they were talking
wanted
about,
something
someone
real.
professional. And he said to me, "John, I would know. There's only one person I believe she's the best, and I'm in contract with somebody else at the moment, but." I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I'm in trouble. But he goes, Chanel is the best. So I caught Chanel.
No, it's
Cookie.
such a compliment
So
from
I
someone like Stephen Khalil.
and funny thing is, I expected this 38-year-old woman to come in, with her. And I said, this beautiful young girl comes in, and she's so full of. So she sat down and she just bang, and it was just brilliant to talk. And I was just really proud. I said, thank you very much. I see you as my little sister. So thank you very much. And my daughter,
so
actually, it could be my daughter. She's so good, and I really trust in what she does. And she's the only person I actually do listen to. I do listen, but I really
Sorry, Joanne.
listen.
Please, can you give me some pointers?
Okay, so go back to Joanne.
Yeah.
What we were saying before with the content.
Yes.
It's so important because Joanne makes a good point. She goes, John, please make sure they check the cutlery. Double check the cutlery because you'd be surprised what they pick up on social media.
Visual,
And
yeah,
advanced
everything.
Attention to
visualization.
detail.
And-
It's got to be, everything's got to be on point, ready to go.
I think, touching on Stephen Khalil, with a wedding dress, until the final beading is done, there's so many details you have to capture. And I think that also does transcend into venues, into when florists do all of their floral designs, everything is in those finer details. And everyone takes notice of it as well. Someone like me, I'm a very, attention to detail type of person. As soon as I walk in a room, I say, okay, that chair's not straight.
Yes.
And you're going to have so
Join
many
the
people
club.
in this generation. Yes.
Yeah.
And even, my mum's the same. So people who do notice those finer details, and when they walk into the hotel, it makes such a
That's
difference.
what Katrina does. Katrina, part of what
Yeah.
she does, she's the first face. There's a person you see at the front desk when she
First
comes
touch
in.
point.
She's a coordinator.
Beautiful
she double
face
checks.
to
But,
see.
but along with the. But along with the Wonder, I'll call them the Wonder Twins with Chanel and Raquel, they actually come in, but the three of them, they actually go for every single room to check every little attention detail because they've realised that it is important to make
Of
sure everything
course.
is at point. And a lot of people sometimes
And
don't
I think
notice
that's
that.
what's amazing of the venue. You have such a beautiful team that actually care.
Yes.
So they care about
They
the
go
couples.
above and beyond.
And the guest experience as well. The guests are so important. As much as you're
Absolutely.
servicing a couple, you're also servicing all their guests, their closest family and friends. So having people that care, and as we go back to the social media training, they want to capture those special moments. The reason why they're capturing it is because they've made people proud. They've made people happy. They've given them that experience that they're proud of.
Yes. Joanne. You like what she said?
I love it.
I think the three of
I
us.
listen to
I
you
think
all
we should
day.
just the three of us leave and let Chanel take over the whole show. No, but that's what. Look, I said. I always say to my team all the time. It's once in a lifetime experience. You know,
Yes.
it's about the experience. It's beyond that. They're here to make memories, and through social media, through the Visy hotels, the team themselves. That's what it's all about, and that's what I must admit. I've actually asked Katrina, and I've actually elevated a role to actually go around to check those little details, along with Jess. She was on the show a couple of weeks ago. She's fantastic. She checks every little detail. I have Liam, and but I must admit, Joanne, thank you to you for actually teaching us how to do that. So now I want to talk about. I want to talk about, which is very interesting. We have in the industry at all, sometimes you've got people out there trying to be I call them backyard suppliers. And sorry, probably wondering why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
You find these people can talk about, there could be, flower wall decorators, it could be draping. They come along and they bring up with all these they're so prevalent on social media. They've got a big following. But the truth is they can't seem to deliver on the day. And then Joanne brought up a very good point. A lot of them they'll advertise something that doesn't belong to them because it's actually done internationally, and they put their brand onto it.
Look, that's the one thing about social media is some people do fall victim to like scams or like people using other people's imagery. Like I've even posted things and someone created a fake account of my business and I was like, that's not even what I'm selling. Like, so people can obviously fall victim in the wedding industry to things like this. But I think that's why it's so crucial to work with people who are genuine, who you can obviously either see something physically or you have good communication with. And working with the hotel, obviously, you know exactly it's a credible venue. You're working with trusted suppliers. And a lot of suppliers in the wedding industry will work with you to get what you want. But yes, unfortunately, that's the power of social media. You can copy anything and make out like it's your own these days.
Well, Katrina today, she actually creates all the contents for every single show that we're lucky if we get for 2% of it. But she's very...
It's very detailed. There's a lot to talk about.
But just if anything else you want to add about scammers, was why did you bring that up in the content?
I think it's just interesting. Like I was thinking about it, and obviously social media has such a huge impact on, you know, any event because you get your ideas and everything from there. And, you know, even though you see certain videos or photos online, it doesn't necessarily look like that on the day, and you don't really want to jeopardize your wedding day for, you know, something that you didn't want.
2 months ago we had an event at Chantel at the, she actually priced a really beautiful wedding cake. It was actually it was too cheap, but I thought the way she quoted, but we only work with fantastic suppliers. We get these wholesale rates. And she created, the bride had a content board and we went to order, and then apparently somebody got in contact with her and said we can do the cake for $50 or $100 cheaper. So we lost the wedding cake. But when the wedding cake on the day actually arrived at the very last minute, which was stressful on the start, we had to concentrate on trying to set up the room. We think, where's the cake? Where's the cake? We thought we misplaced the cake. The cake hadn't arrived. We're trying to ring up the supplier. They weren't answering. They finally delivered the cake. And then the cake it wasn't very nice. The cake was delivered in a car with like 5 dogs in there. You know, it wasn't good. They brought the cake in. The lady couldn't even get out of the car. We had to go pick up the cake, which in turn we weren't given the proper service in the foyer to the guests because we were trying to bring the cake in.
Yeah.
And then throughout the whole function, the cake kept on melting, so we kept on taking it in and out of the cool room, trying to keep
that's really
because you weren't given proper instructions.
And so it was abstracting out. So that's so important for me as at the Visy Hotel. It's very important to work with my coordinators to get the best people.
Of course, trusted suppliers
and
in
trusted
the industry.
supply, and then making sure you get the right people. You've got to be reputable.
I mean, look, I vouch for small businesses because I love working with people and supporting people. But I think when it does come to your wedding, you do need to, you know, do your due diligence. You need to say, you know, if it's a bridal trial or, you know, you need to really communicate. And I think that goes on both, it falls on both the couple and also the suppliers. You need to communicate exactly what you want. You need to ask them to send you a photo before. Or like, you know, if you're... I also think that you should make something yours. So if you're sending them a picture of a cake, someone else's cake, make it a little bit different. So, you know, you can make it tailored to yourself, personalize it. But going back to suppliers, obviously working at a hotel, you know, you could say everything is end to end, as we've mentioned in the last podcast. You do get that full experience and that's your entire responsibility. Working with a wedding planner assists because you can obviously get them to organize suppliers. They've worked with vendors. That's their know-how. That's their specialty and expertise. So, I mean, you definitely can get scammed in any industry, not just the wedding industry. But I think it really comes down to who you're working with, how you communicate, and what you want as well at the end of the day. If you're asking someone who's a small business to do something that they've never done before, you have to take that risk and know that, you know, that's my decision and you have to own that decision. Whereas if you are working with a hotel or a global brand, you know that the standard that you're going to get, it's already been proven in the industry. So I think it really does come down to, you know, having that direction, having that choice, and also taking accountability.
That's really well said.
Yeah,
that's actually really well said.
Honestly, having worked in the wedding industry when I was at Wedded Wonderland, I've seen so many different events come to life. Some that have been hosted at venues like Visy Dior, beautiful hotels, and others that are kind of a little bit more independent. And it does come down to your suppliers. It comes down to communication. And that's the proof in the pudding, you know. You can take a chance on someone who hasn't done something before, but you have to be willing to cop that responsibility.
But you can see the difference, honestly. Look, sorry, I'm taking over the show a little bit, but you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference where they come in, and others sometimes some people can have a bad day, right? Things can go wrong, but sometimes you find a good florist would finish it up and they think, oh, I've got maybe the chair cover person's, they're running a little bit behind. I'm going to go and help the chair cover person, or the candelabra person might come and help the dance floor person.
Yeah, of course.
A professional always helps. We're a team coming together, and that's why it's very important. That's why I'm proud of you, Katrina, to bring up about social media scammers, because there's a little bit more to that. Because you got to know who you're working with, and then you know what, for Visy to do an event, we'll make sure it's a fantastic event, but we have to ensure that we need good suppliers to work with us, or better still, just order everything directly from me, and I'll make sure it's perfect anyway, regardless.
Well, I have
your
to agree with
experience.
Chanel. At the end of the day, the couple needs to take a little bit of responsibility, be accountable. You just don't know. So
in your decisions. And I mean, obviously with your experience working in hospitality and events for how many years, working in the hotel industry now, you can take that responsibility, but you're not the final decision maker. The couple is, and we have to remember that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does obviously come with accountability from their end, but, when you work with such amazing people, you have that trust. You have that sense of reassurance. So taking accountability does become so easy. So...
No, I agree. Especially
That's
at
true.
Visy Dior Hotel. I mean, Chantel, Raquel, and Amy, they've
Yeah.
worked there
They're
for
amazing.
years. They're amazing. They've
Yeah.
worked there for years, and they know what they're talking about as
Of
well.
course.
So, having them behind you and kind
that
of
experience.
their experience and telling you what could or could not work. It's
the
nice to
endless
have
possibilities.
that. Exactly.
And now with the renovations,
Yeah, it's really good.
so
It is really
John gets
exciting.
shy to talk about the reservations because he's like, I can't let anything slip.
I know it's very exciting with the new sign up of the new where we're moving with the new branding. It's really good. And we're on our next show. I think we time up, Rahul. How are we? We still got more. Sorry. Okay.
Wow.
We're still rolling?
We're still rolling. So what's actually another part I want to, which is very, very important, is actually the food aspect of it.
Yes.
With the
Yeah.
food itself. So with the food, with Chantel and Raquel, what I love about them, they actually go in the kitchen to check the food. They speak to the chefs to see, make sure that it's actually, it's
They're
organised
communicating with
presentation.
everyone.
Yeah.
I don't see Katrina, but she ends up going in and start eating half of it.
that actually sounds
Hey,
fine.
I don't
She
blame
goes,
you.
I need to taste it. I said, well, you already tasted it. Let me taste it again.
You need a taste tester.
I'm
Yeah.
a taste tester. No, it's very important to actually get the flavours right and the presentation right for the event itself, because you want to make sure that no one's going to say there wasn't enough food on the plate, which on social media, I say to my staff all the time, my team, and it's something I'm so adamant about. I said, guys, it has to look perfect
Social
because
proof.
every single person will pull out their phone and take a
And take a
picture
shot, yeah.
and say, this is what's happened. However, I like
It's
to
not really the first thing that they do.
I know.
really.
I take a
Yeah.
picture if I sit in a restaurant, even if it's not a wedding, even if it's a restaurant. You take a picture of your food when it comes and this and that. And funnily enough, people sometimes respond to on Instagram and they're like,
What is that?
I didn't get that. And I'm like,
Oh,
it was a
no.
special. It was just for that month they had that, and they're like, but I want that. And then they go to the restaurant and they show someone. So it goes back to obviously receptions and weddings as well. People, they remember everything from the taste, the presentation.
It's all that experience.
They'll make
Yeah.
a comment. You can make a review in 1 second. All it takes is a minute, take a picture,
Click
post it
post.
somewhere, and you have that social proof of what someone thought. And people heavily respect people's opinions. So
but I just ask that it's very important to be kind too, because if you went to someone's wedding and you posted something that maybe went wrong, who knows what really happened, and don't put the bride and groom's name to it, because you got to think, you're ruining someone's wedding day.
Yeah.
Be a little bit kind, hold your judgment on it, or if you know
Yes.
what I mean. Because at a wedding, I don't think you should be critiquing the food, how good it is at someone's wedding, because you don't know what it could have been.
well, they won't need
yeah.
to critique the food when it's as good as it is
I know,
as Visy
yes.
Dior,
We do
See?
it.
But,
Absolutely.
no, I definitely think that some people do obviously make weddings about them when it's really about the couple.
Yes.
But going back to social media and the power of it, one picture can speak a million words. So whether it's a undercooked steak or something like that, as you said, people go in the kitchen and they test, which is amazing because you wouldn't want to eat the food that your customers are eating if they're not happy with it. So having that standard is so essential, especially in
It's
the line
something
of work.
I want to just bring up. My mother, Serene Ropel Navarro, she was the best wedding coordinator that
was
I ever met.
amazing.
She was amazing. She was the one that started it. She was the one that revolutionised the industry back then, when basically women weren't allowed to say anything about their wedding day. The only thing they had, those days back in the 70s, basically the bride would come in and she had no say. The parents would say, look, this is what we want. It's about the food. This is, however, they might look at the bride and say, would you like pink or red for the colour theme? And she might say, okay, pink. That's all.
And
that's
that's
as
the
far
only
as
choice she
and she
had.
had the choice. She was brought along more to say, as gratitude to her mother-in-law, to say, you're having this wonderful wedding, but walk out dismayed. And my mother would often talk to my dad about that particular couple when they were doing weddings together. And she would often ring the bride the next day and ask her, said, look, how are you? And often the bride would be in shock. Oh, do you want to speak to my mother? She goes, no, I'm here. My mum would say, I want to speak to you. And they were in shock. We're talking about women that were actually studying. They were going to TAFE. They were, going up in the business world, and they still, when it came to the wedding, they literally had no say. And my mother would talk to them and say, talk to me about what you'd like and
different
what type
time,
of
right?
food, and talk about your colour
know.
theme and decorations, theming the wedding cake, and then she'd go back to my father's files, and she'd readjust everything on the paperwork.
That's
and,
beautiful.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
and on the day was my job. I was only like 7, 8, 9. She used to get me to go around all the tables, check all the cutlery, and making sure. And my mum would check all the tablecloths, make sure there's no holes in there, and she'd walk in. My father was the one checking the food, and it was actually a family occasion,
Well,
a
you
beautiful
have
occasion to make sure.
recognise
also-
that,
and
you guys revolutionise the whole industry. So
we were the first
hats
ones to
off.
actually bring a
Yeah.
5-star wedding at a 3-star budget, and that's the legacy I intend to continue on with the Visy Dior hotels.
Of course.
To making sure that people have the best possible outcome. It's all about them. I want to keep, even though we're getting bigger with a beautiful grand ballroom, it's going to fold up to about 930 guests.
wow.
But at the same time,
Amazing.
big, but keep it small enough that the care factor is always going to be there. So that's what we're into.
And
So
having that versatility, as you said, like, your mother was amazing because she paved the way for brides to have that personalized experience.
Yeah.
So having that versatility and that personal approach at the hotel with either intimate celebrations and, we were speaking earlier today about not only weddings, but really,
Any style of event,
any type
basically.
of event, but, those key birthdays, milestone birthdays, which I was wanting to say. You even said quinceañeras, cultural events as well.
I want to talk about that actually. I want to talk about that. That's very, very important because I want to talk about, not only about weddings. Because at the moment I've seen a lot of incline of baptism parties, engagement parties, 21st, confirmations. All these events seem to be wanting coming. They're inquiring. So we're going to be looking at those packages to actually create something significant just specifically for those type of cultural and sacramental events.
Yeah.
So is that a wrap, Rahul? Beautiful. Thank you. So,
Yay.
Katrina?
Well, thank you again. Thank you for joining us, Joanne and
Thank
Chanel.
you. Thanks
you.
for having
Really
us.
interesting. Yeah, honestly, it's been so interesting having you both. And thank you for the listeners. Please like and subscribe our channel at Visy Dior or Visy Dior. I had a little accent then. Visy Dior on all social platforms, which is Spotify, iTunes, TikTok, Instagram. And thank you.
And make sure we follow Chanel Wunori.
We're doing
From the agency, and
Yes.
a must-have.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very
Chanel
much.
Wardini. John always doesn't
Chanel
forgets how to
Wardini.
pronounce my name, but it's fine. At the agency on Instagram. And yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.